Play action just to start. Tight end looks like Ricci looked like he's going to lead block, but he continues to run down the field and finds a hole in the defense. And Wassink with a great throw, a good touch pass, put just enough zip on it to make that accurate and an easy catch for Ricci.
21-yard catch. Bogan helps adjust his teammate's jersey. There's Ricci again. Too much air on it. Incomplete. What do you call that, like a tight end pop play or something like that?
Yeah, it's just a play action where it's where you throw it to the lead guy, and most times you don't see that in the middle of the field where a lead blocker becomes the number one target on a play. But that's just Coach Lester mixing it up, going to his video game bag, if you will. But he's finding ways to get a lot of these guys open.
Jamari Bogan rolled under at about the 16. Third down coming up. Bogan is a fifth-year senior. He already has his undergraduate degree in finance. He's in the master's program, so pretty smart cat. And as we've detailed, he's racked up a boatload of touchdowns in his career for the Broncos.
Well, Bogan is a guy that he's going to be your second and medium back, but then you could put Bellamy in there for those screens too, like on third down in those passing situations.
Bellamy shakes off the tackle attempt by Calhoun. He's to pay dirt.
And that's just what I was speaking to, Chris. When you see Bellamy in there on third down, you better expect him to get the football because he's a third down back. And he's really an every down back, but he's a matchup problem. But Calhoun was responsible for him in the back end. He had good coverage. But right there, son, you have to wrap up. You have to wrap a guy like Bellamy up, or like you saw. He'll stay in bounds, tightrope the sideline, and get 6 points.
Bad snap, and the kick was blocked. Gavin Petty misses the point after attempts. That's the third extra point attempt missed by Petty this year. One more look at the touchdown, though. And to your point, Marcus, if you're Vince Calhoun, you have to know that you're the last line of defense on this.
You have to know it's zero coverage. That means if you miss, zero help. No one's going to be there. It's a good run by young Bellamy to get to that 2-score lead.
Largest lead of the day for either team. It's a 10-point advantage for Western Michigan as Cameron Broughton, the freshman from Littleton, Colorado, gets set to boot it away. Eastern Michigan has played Western very tough today, but now they need some offense to get back in this game with 9:24 left. Arthur Jackson took the last kick back for Eastern. He drops the ball. A moment of confusion, and Jackson never signaled for a fair catch, nor did he really give himself up. That is a catastrophic mistake. And Eastern Michigan has the ball at the 1-yard line.
I mean, what a
ball was fair caught
strange
and dropped in the field of play. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line, first down.
When you don't clearly make a decision and communicate what your intentions are, the ball's live. He waved it right there. Ball goes into the end zone. The official signals live ball, and they were watching. But the fair catch is off once he drops.
Well, he didn't even get a good spot on that. You saw that he was wrapped up at the 2. Eastern gets it at the 1. But a 99-yard drive staring Eastern Michigan in the face right now. Glass on the keeper. Look out. To the 25.
That's why he's in the game, Chris, because he can get you out of trouble. Coach Creighton knows that, yeah, he didn't like the spot, but he also made a call with a young man named Glass III who can get you out of that situation. And they make you defend right, left, and middle. They gave you the jet sweep to the left, the zone read to the right, Glass up the middle. So it's tough to defend a three-headed monster in one play call.
Aaron Keene, the offensive coordinator for Eastern Michigan, said he did not call a good game last week, as Willie Parker is crushed at the line of scrimmage by Drake Spears and company. We haven't seen much Shaq Van lately for Eastern Michigan. He's on the sideline right now for the Eagles with his right sleeve rolled up on his leg.
Yeah, Shaq Van's the guy that got lost in the sauce a little bit last week offensively, but now you're down 2 scores, you're going to have to pass the ball.
Athletic play by Glass to keep his footing. He stumbles across the 30. There's Shaq with fellow running back Breck Turner with him. Willie Parker is listed 3rd on the depth chart for Eastern Michigan. In fact, he has not rushed for positive yards this season. But he's the back of choice on this drive for Eastern with a very important 3rd and 4 on hand. All day to throw. Glass runs. He had to get to the 35 and appears to have it.
It's a heads-up play by the young fella. Glass, I mean, you don't want to force the football. You're down 2 scores, only 7 minutes left, so the clock isn't your friend. But you'll see only a 4-man rush, good protection. Eastern had 6 guys in, but you sacrifice receivers downfield with the more blockers you keep in. But Glass looks like he was kicking and scratching a little bit at the end of that play.
Jackson on the receiving end. Brilliant cut move on the sideline. He gets out of bounds, too, with an Eastern Michigan first down.
Yeah, he has to be more involved, I think, when it comes to getting this offense plus yards, explosion plays. He's a great athlete. Coaching staff really high on his upside and where he's emerged to in this wide receiving core.
Over 300 yards receiving coming into this game. Picks up 13 there. Shaq Van checks back in, and the option is read and blown up. Just about everybody who matters on Western Michigan's defense was in the backfield there. Antonio Balabani, Najee Clayton, among others.
This looks like a play from old school Tecmo Bowl where you pick the same play as they do and everyone's in the backfield. But that's an excellent play defensively. Western seems like they knew exactly what was coming. And Balabani, he just led the charge. Feels good-looking kid, too. 6'3", 230. Has that lean build. He's more of a tweener. He can put his hand in the ground. He can even stand up and drop in coverage, too.
Out of Macomb, Dakota High School. Pretty good program here at Detroit. Over the middle, there's Marcus's boy Jackson. Close to the first down sticks, 2 yards shy of it, into Western Michigan territory to the 45.
Yeah, see, Jackson was a guy that they relied on against Purdue on that game-winning drive on 4th and 15. They found Jackson. I mean, it seems like they only use him in emergency situations, but I think along with Banham, they have a good blend of receivers who can make things happen, intermediate and vertical.
Shaq Van, with his first carry in a long time, picks up 1 yard, and he needed 2. That would have been Eastern Michigan's second third down conversion on this drive, but instead it's 4th and 1.
Yeah, this is
Is this the ball game?
Oh, I think it's definitely the ball game here for Eastern. You know, if they don't get it, but if they get this first down, they're still very much alive.
Van's got enough. And Eastern improves to 1 for 3 on 4th down conversions today.
I like the call, giving it to Van up the middle. Trustworthy guy, he falls forward, and now Eastern's still in business.
And the clock is still moving. Glass is stuck. Drake Spears, the junior from Aurora, Illinois, our impact player for good reason. He made an impact on that tackle.
Yeah, he sure did, and I really liked how he kept his head out of the picture. He made a textbook tackle, didn't lead with the crown of his helmet. That was an excellent football play. It's for all you young players watching this game. That's how you tackle. You get your head out of the way, you explode using your shoulders, and you get the guy on the ground without excessive force.
Glass nearly threw an interception. Stefan Claiborne with blanket coverage on the play.
It's good coverage on the back end, I tell you, but Glass, he threw this ball late. It was underthrown. But at the same time, Claiborne was right there. Stefan Claiborne went up, tried to high point it and intercept the football. Young Harris, 6'2" wide receiver at 199, 199 pounds out of Raleigh, did a good job of knocking the ball loose.
Another third down. Open man, Jackson's got it. And he picks up a first down.
Yeah, he's Mr. Reliable in the clutch. Here's the thing. I really think if Eastern played this helter-skelter play from behind mentality with urgency and tempo, I think they would be a much more explosive offense.
Back to the ground game. Van with a hard run. He nearly slipped free and was dragged down by the ankle. Thanks to Drake Spears. Hard run for Van.
Good call, running the football. Look at this offensive line, controlling the point of attack. And then right there, you look at the yards after contact, the young man Vance. Shaq Van, our impact player. You see our impact players have really stepped up today so far. You saw
30-second charge timeout, Western Michigan.
With the run. Spears making plays. Crosby's even made a few plays too. So good call on
their first
impact players today, Chris.
I wonder who picked the impact players. I can't remember. No, you do a good job identifying the impact players every week, Marcus. And I remember last week when we were doing the Eastern Northern game, you said that Shaq Van ran the ball harder as the game went on, and that was another case in point late in this game of a really hard run.
Yeah, and I think Coach Creighton and Aaron Keene and those guys know that. And Jay Peterson, he's their running backs coach. We used to work the Michigan camp together for a lot of years, so I know Jay. He's a great running back coach. But I really think that Shaq Van does get stronger because he doesn't get a ton of carries. So he's relatively fresh in moments where they need him the most, especially without Erickson being in the lineup.
Out of South Bend High School, South Bend, Indiana's John Adams High School. Glass. Was that hauled in by Gunnar Oaks? It's incomplete. Oaks already has a touchdown grab today. That would have been a completion to the one.
On the field was an incomplete pass.
We have to look at this
Third
one, Chris.
down.
I mean, the big fella had the one-hander earlier. Now let's see if he switched hands. If he would have kept his right hand underneath it, I think they would have gave him the catch. But right at the last second, you'll see from this angle, watch his right hand will be under it, and then the left hand kind of sneaks in there. And
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The play is under further review.
They will review it, but I think you're right, Marcus. You could see the ball drag a little bit on the turf as his hand switched. Oaks almost deserves the benefit of a review here because of his fantastic grab earlier in the game, but seeing that from all those wonderful angles, courtesy of our crew today, they're getting some sunshine finally, which is well deserved. They were out in the pouring rain earlier this morning.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking, man, is this going to be like last year? You know, you talked about that at the Open and showed the pictures and everything. I said, wow, what is it with homecoming here at Waldo Stadium? But the sun's out. Big fella Oaks tried to pull off another great catch.
Remember, this drive for Eastern Michigan started at the 1 yard line.
Remember, it started at the one. I like the call, Chris, and right from the very first play, it was clear that Mike Glass III was going to have a hand or a say in how this game ended, and he showed up with that first quarterback run.
We saw Eastern Michigan move the ball well late in last week's loss to Northern Illinois. And again, it's as offensive coordinator Aaron Keene said, something about the urgency that kicks in, the adrenaline perhaps late in games. Boy, it's interesting that this review is taking as long as it is. It was ruled incomplete. There has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. Here's
After
Tom
review,
Stapleton.
the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass stands. Third down.
And as we expected, the call stands. And here comes third down and 3. Eastern Michigan is 3 for 13 on third down today. And in the total yard department, Western Michigan has had the better second half. But Eastern Michigan has already scored a touchdown in the second half today, going for another to make it a one-score game. Fade route. Too strong for Jackson.
Jackson's trying to get separation. I think Glass threw it a little too far high and outside. But right there, you have to be smart, play to the situation, go for your 3 points. I like taking a shot at the end zone because it kind of kills the clock. Either you score or it stops. But then you turn around, try to get 3 points, play some tough defense. You have 2 timeouts left. But all those yards in the second half for Western are very uncharacteristic for Eastern's defense.
32-yard try for Chad Ryland. He made his first today, and that one is wide right.
It looked like the snap was wide right, too. I mean, the ball was lined up on the hash. Ryland right now is just not in the rhythm.
And it remains a 10-point deficit for Eastern Michigan. A devastating turn of events as they fail to turn points out of a drive that began at the 1.
Michigan State's in trouble.
Well, the afternoon games in the MAC are just about ready to get rolling here. Buffalo has Central Michigan on the ropes. Under 2 minutes to go in that game. Central Michigan doomed by another slow start. They were down 17-3 at the break.
Yeah, no Spartans, man. I was just talking about it. They're in trouble, man. They're losing to Northwestern. It's just an interesting day in college football.
Jamari Bogan gets the drive started for Western Michigan, a 1-yard gain to the 21. And it's interesting to think about the number 2 program in the state right now. You got to think your Wolverines still have the top spot among FBS programs.
30-second charge
this Western
timeout,
team,
Eastern Michigan,
with a win today, really starting to look pretty good as a contender for nothing else, a MAC championship.
Yeah, and Western played Michigan this year, I believe, in week 2, and it took one on the chin. I think Coach Lester he even told us that was a learning experience for his team, and obviously Michigan State's right there, and they've been playing a lot of close games. But I think when you look at the MAC and the Big Ten and all those other conferences, man, I mean, these games can go either way, and Eastern Michigan is the one team that can, testify to that firsthand with being in close games, and whether it's home or on the road, even against good teams. I mean, even against Buffalo. And so the MAC plays good competition, and I think their teams benefit from it once they get into conference play.
Right now, Eastern Michigan needs a 3-and-out to get the ball back. Jalen Pickett is all over Jamari Bogan for a loss of 2.
30-second charge timeout, Eastern Michigan, their
calls
third.
For its final timeout with a 3rd and 11 coming up. Eastern Michigan's defense has really played hard today.
And as they always do. I mean, they don't necessarily ever just get torched up and cooked up. I mean, they play hard. They may give up a few plays on the first couple of possessions, but once they settle in, they run to the football, they hit, and really to bottle up this offense, I would say in the first half for the most part, is a testament to all the 11 guys flying to the football and some good coaching.
And you said this on our conference call earlier in the week with Eastern Michigan staff. You played just down the road from Ypsilanti at Michigan, so you're familiar with Eastern's program for the last 20, 25 years, and you think it's in as good of a spot as it ever has been since you became familiar with it.
Oh, without question. I mean, what Coach Creighton has done in his first 5 years is amazing. We all remember the bowl game, 2016, the bowl season, and just to have so many close games. I mean, they can easily be an 8-4 team, or 9-3 over the last couple of years.
Bogan again with a hard run to the 25. He was the Bahamas Bowl MVP in 2015 for Western the year before.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
Its first bowl since 1987.
Yeah, he was the freshman of the year, too, in 2015. I mean, Bogan has had a great career, battled some injuries.
Here's what's coming up for Eastern Michigan.
Oh, we got the Rockets next week. That Army game's going to be a tough one. It just doesn't get any easier. I mean, Ball State's competitive. They gave Notre Dame all they could handle. So, a lot of action coming up for Eastern.
They get back to the factory next week to welcome the Rockets. And speaking of upcoming schedules, here's what's coming down the pipeline for the Broncos. There's an injured player on the field at the moment. Right tackle Mark Brooks. A couple of road games for Western Michigan. Bowling Green and at Central. If Western Michigan holds on today, they can win the Michigan MAC Trophy 2 weeks from now up in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And Bowling Green's a very capable team. I mean, and you got Ohio on there, who's many have favored in the East, along with Buffalo. Toledo's always going to be a good game, good matchup for Western. And then you got the showdown with Northern Illinois, which could possibly determine who plays for the conference championship.
And you'd have to think Buffalo, as it stands right now, is going to be waiting at Ford Field out of the Eastern Division for the MAC championship. Speaking of the Michigan MAC Trophy, this formally, anyway, goes back to 2005. The Michigan Sports Hall of Fame put this together, and it's a triangle trophy competed for by the 3 MAC schools in the mitten. And it's been pretty even looking back over the last 6 years or so. All three schools have gotten their hands on the trophy. It currently belongs to Central. And we shouldn't overlook this. Starting right tackle Mark Brooks needs a lot of help to get off the sidelines right now. We've talked about how good this Western Michigan offensive line is. They play like a unit, and it would hurt to lose the 6'6" sophomore from Portland, Michigan for an extended length of time.
Well, it's mid-season, and you'll see guys start to go down a little bit here and there across the nation.
3:14.
That's a little unfortunate for Western Michigan. The big fella, he's a sophomore.